All religious people are shocked by the new discoveries made by the James Webb Space Telescope, which brings us a little closer to God. Our scientific and religious conceptions of the universe are being challenged by a paradigm shift that we are currently experiencing. When Galileo Galilei discovered that the Earth is not the center of creation and science discovered 100 years ago that the Milky Way is not the universe, there was a similar revolution. One of the most impressive scientific instruments ever made by humans is the James Webb Space Telescope. This telescope is more than just a technical tool. It is a symbol of humanity's quest for truth because it can see far into the universe and gather light from the earliest stars and galaxies. "Nature is a relentless judge who forces us to strive for knowledge," was a quote by Galileo Galilei. Many people hold the belief that finding God is the only way to comprehend the universe's implacable nature. At the same time, it's possible that we were inspired to investigate the universe's mysteries by God, or by him or her. We have no idea what God is or whether or not this entity even exists. Science isn't just for our curiosity or our apprehension about a nature we can't control or a universe so vast that we feel like we don't belong there. We should also get answers to the most fundamental questions about our existence from science. There are religious currents that vehemently reject all new knowledge in science, despite the fact that the JWST and the entire scientific mission of humans can be viewed as divine in this context. Even scientists are astonished by the JWST's shocking discoveries. It has demonstrated the presence of water in the atmospheres of exoplanets and some of the oldest galaxies ever observed, which are over 13.7 billion years old. Our understanding of the universe's formation and the existence of life there could be significantly enhanced by these discoveries. Regardless of our religious beliefs, if the JWST discovers the first evidence of life on other planets, we must acknowledge that God created multiple worlds. The multiverse is one particularly fascinating aspect that is now being seen more clearly than ever before. The most recent shocking discoveries, which conservative scientists had previously dismissed as nonsense, make it increasingly likely that there are multiple universes. Surprisingly, none of the world's three major religions acknowledges or even opposes this concept. But things are very different in Asia. Numerous worlds inhabited by gods, demons, and other beings are described in the Vedas. However, the concept of the multiverse can be found in religion without having to look very far. A multiverse is nothing more than the 9 distinct worlds that the gods created in Germanic mythology. These parallels may suggest that the JWST's scientific findings have a deeper spiritual component and that we are close to reuniting science and religion. This was normal in ancient times because the two fields were inseparable. Everything math, music, mechanics was regarded as divine and, consequently, religious. Therefore, there must be a different reason why religious leaders and church leaders opposed modern astronomical discoveries. Who today doesn't know the name Galileo Galilei? The Church versus Galileo Galilei. From 1564 to 1642, the great astronomer and mathematician resided in Italy. However, few people today are aware of the difficulties Galilei faced. The heliocentric view of the world was established by Galileo because he was the first to improve the telescope and make astronomical observations as a result. The scientists provided evidence for the heliocentric model by locating Jupiter's 4 largest moons, Venus phases, sunspots, and the moon's uneven surface. Galileo lived during Europe's intellectual and cultural revolution known as the Renaissance. Although this era saw significant advancements in literature, science, and art, the Catholic Church continued to exert considerable religious authority, particularly in its early years. The Church saw the teachings of the ancient sages as a threat to its power and world order and had no interest in reviving the ancient scientific worldview. This included, for instance, advocating the geocentric view of the world, which was founded on the writings of the Bible and the ideas of the ancient astronomer Claudius Ptolemy. As the only truly divinely ordered structure, this model placed Earth at the center of the universe. Galileo got into a lot of trouble with the Church for promoting the heliocentric model in public. In some ways, the Inquisition was opposed to the Renaissance. All modern approaches to thinking, including naturopathy and ancient disciplines like astrology, were to be eradicated. The heliocentric worldview first proposed by Nicholas Copernicus was declared heretical by the Inquisition in 1616. In 1633, a church court tried Galileo for heresy and ordered him to change his mind. The scientist was allowed to live, but he was placed under house arrest for the rest of his life. The fact that the Bible depicts the earth and humanity as the center of God's creation was officially the reason for the Church's rigid opposition to the heliocentric model. This worldview was viewed as a threat to this authority, the divine order, or the Church's power. The Church's power would have been diminished had the revelation that it had distorted itself become public. Another Italian scientist, Giordano Bruno, was hit even harder. He loved astronomy and was even a priest once. Bruno went further than Galileo did by positing that the universe is infinite and that numerous inhabited worlds exist. These concepts could have been revolutionary, but Bruno sacrificed his genius for them. In order to discourage other researchers, the Church gave Bruno a lengthy trial because it considered his ideas extremely perilous. In the year 1600, Bruno committed a heinous suicide as a heretic. Only recently has the Church expressed its regret for these wrongdoings. However, did you know that the Catholic Church has never truly acknowledged scientific advancements? Big Bang versus creation story. The fact that a priest invented the Big Bang theory is one of today's less well-known facts. Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian, did not see science and religion as incompatible. He stated that religion explains the why of the universe while science deals with the how of the universe. Lemaitre was of the opinion that religious beliefs and scientific discoveries can coexist in harmony as long as they focus on their respective fields. In a brief statement made in 1951, then Pope Pius XII suggested that the Big Bang could also be interpreted as a divine act of creation. Nevertheless, it soon became abundantly clear that the Bible's narratives could not be true but rather merely allegories. The earth was certainly not created by God in a week. Interestingly, the creation story in Islam is also nearly identical. There was a man and a woman who looked like Adam and Eve when Allah created the earth in 6 days. Let's examine the Jewish, Christian, and Islamic creation myths in greater detail. Amazingly, the ideas reflected in the respective holy scriptures appear to be accurate. Man was there first after 6 days of creation. Naturally, the righteous and omnipotent individual who owns the animals and the earth. Let's examine the scientific findings now. The Big Bang occurred in less than a second, and it took only 9 billion years for the Earth to form. That might only be a week in God's kingdom, but then we need a lot of imagination. Today, we are aware that the animals and plants were there first, not humans. That doesn't go over well with many members of the Church either, and it certainly doesn't go over well with the realization that humans were once animals and are still in some ways today. The worldview is about to undergo a new shift. Is the Earth round or flat? Is it the center of the universe? Or is it just one part of many? Is there a finite or an infinite universe? And most importantly, do multiple universes exist? Such new metaphysical findings have an impact on non-religious individuals. A universe that is infinite would imply that human comprehension of the universe is challenged and that science has so far grasped absolutely nothing. In Asia, there are Buddhist monks and believers who do not view the concept of infinity as a spiritual issue. They even assert that their third eye can see into the infinite universe. Due to our schooling, only normal people and Western science have a very narrow perspective on the world. We also think that only one or the other is true, whereas quantum mechanics, for instance, demonstrates that numerous parallel versions of reality exist. The old science will be destroyed if the James Webb telescope proves that the universe is infinite and that the Big Bang never happened. This is probably a good thing because we are no longer moving forward. The researchers are resigning themselves because the JWST is currently driving our science to its limits on multiple levels. The universe in its current state cannot be described by our methods or knowledge. What does it imply? A reintroduction of metaphysics? Or is the long-awaited synthesis of quantum and classical physics about to take place? Particles that carry all of the universe's information and can be in multiple locations at the same time are the subject of research in quantum mechanics. Matter's fundamental building blocks are called quanta. We must accept that the world of matter is not what we think it is if these particles have such properties. It is possible that it is an illusion or a movable projection, and there is even evidence that we created this world. Would that then imply that we are God ourselves? Possibly. There are definitely points of view and even scientific hypotheses that assert this.